Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another long overdue edition of Fake Sports. Last time we did one of these, it was just the two of us with no picture because it was a sick day for Marcus and it was a work time for me, but we made it work and we are here back now because we got a bunch of stuff to talk about. Isn't that right?
It's been a busy last couple of months, not only for us personally, but within the world of sport. So I'm ready to get to it.
Yes, sir. And there's a bunch of stuff that we could even talk about for this episode. Uh, we could talk about the craziness that was the NBA All Star Weekend and the Twitter drama that unfolded between LeBron and KD and all the craziness that's now kind of left the news cycle already. We could
Yep.
talk about the World Baseball Classic that just wrapped. Big ups to Venezuela taking it home against the United States. Huge. Hey, I couldn't have lost. I had Acuna on one team. I had Bobby
Oh,
Witt on another. I was good.
yeah,
Braves represented. We're clear.
um, yeah. Shout out Venezuela.
Shout,
Yeah.
shout him out.
Ooh.
You know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
um, I loved it. I loved Acuna saying that I love Atlanta, but I grew up playing in Venezuela, and this means more than winning a World Series. And I'm like, I ain't
Yeah.
mad
It's
at it.
yeah.
Ain't mad at it. Nah.
Yeah. Well,
World,
I think the one thing to touch on the WBC is that the playoff games and the World Series have really outpriced the fan base. And baseball is such a regional sport, and it is generational. Like there are people who go to games because they went with their grandfather or their father, or, so on and so forth. That baseball is losing that, and they've priced people out of being able to go to the most important games. And you get the World Baseball Classic every couple of years, and that is a more affordable option, and you get to support your team, your country, your players, and it's created an atmosphere that's completely different from the World Series, but feels just as grand.
it would be really interesting if we could find a way to do the World Baseball Classic like in the middle of the MLB season. But like it's the craziest thing because it's like as soon as you start talking about like moving the World Baseball Classic, then every MLB team, like MLB teams are already pissed off that these players are playing full games
Yeah,
ahead of spring training.
right. Oh, don't
Like,
use this pitcher, unless it's this situation, and don't use them in back-to-back games. Whatever. So,
yeah.
hey,
What happened to the
the
sport I
team.
love?
What happened to the sport I love? What happened to the sport I love? You got Mark DeRosa out there talking about how he would have used Mason Miller if it was a save situation, but buddy, you can't have a save situation because you're trailing going into the ninth. So there is no save situation. So why wouldn't you just use him in the eighth as opposed to giving up the go ahead run? DeRosa's a fool.
Yes. Uh, we knew that, but again, kudos to Venezuela doing the thing. Did Acuna win MVP?
It was Michael Garcia, the Kansas City
Uh-huh.
Royals.
Okay. Fair enough. You were definitely the more locked in of the two of us in regards to the World Baseball Classic. Were you I know you also picked up MLB The Show. Did you play any because the World Baseball Classic made it into the show this year, right?
Yes, yep. I haven't played with the WBC mode at all. They have like these other challenges where you can go through like historic situations with players. So I've been doing that while the online server has been hit or miss
Uh,
uh, in this first week. So and I started playing Road to the Show a bit. So um, it is what it is with the show.
the show is the show.
The show is a show.
It'll
I
always
don't
be
think
the
it's
show.
changed. I don't think it's changed since I was in high school, so um,
Hey, they were. That's one thing I do wish that like I wish that they had like 2K levels of like narrative telling for baseball as
mhm,
like they do with like the story for NBA 2K or
right.
even like WWE 2K. Like as
Yeah,
chintzy as it is, it's still really robust
yeah. I
and
think
interesting.
a couple years ago, the show had a mode with, like, Jeter, and, like, you go through Jeter's career, and, like, that was really good. Um,
Oh,
and that gave you, like, a couple of days worth of gameplay just going through that. And, I know they have, like, the Negro League that you can go through. So, like, they have some features, that they've added to the game, but, definitely not anything as immersive as 2K, with what the NBA is doing or even
right.
WWE.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, all you got with MLB is what Diamond Dynasty.
Diamond Dynasty, one of these years I might fall for it, but, um, yeah, it just seems like a hassle to put together, so,
It is. It is.
um,
Like I've even
yeah,
dabbled loosely, but to no avail. To no avail.
Dabbleverse.
No, not no.
No,
Don't
not
make
that.
this one another podcast of them. Don't do it. Golly, I say one word, we're already off the hinges. But we do have a boatload to talk about, and we will culminate this episode of Big Sports with a deep dive into the shakings of the NFL offseason. Talk about acquisitions, re-signings, trades, go by each division to see who seemingly is the big winner. And we'll also do a little bit of discussion of what's left on the table for players. We'll probably come back a little closer with some NFL draft talk, um, possibly after the fact as opposed to before. More so
Oh,
because
I
I got no clue about any of these kids coming out, coming in. Like,
listen, I've done a mock draft both with and without trades for the last 4 or 5 years, and I'm on a good 3-year stretch of having like a 70% accurate draft.
last year you didn't. I,
S
I
I
remember
had the
seeing the sheet you
players.
put up.
I
Yeah,
had the players,
right.
but, the landing spots were off by a couple spots.
Yeah,
So that's what I'm going for is making sure the first round players are drafted within a position or 2, especially when, you factor in trades and no trades. So, but yes,
right.
I will be here with, my mock draft, heading into, the 2026, oh my goodness, 2026 NFL draft.
When is that? That's coming up next month,
That'll be
right?
April 20. It'll be a Thursday. April 23rd, I'm pretty
23rd.
sure. That
So the
sounds right.
Thursday after Mania.
Yeah.
Crazy time in April. We'll have Final Four basketball. We'll have, for those who celebrate real sports, WrestleMania, and
Mhm.
then we'll have the NFL draft right after. And like
NBA playoffs will be
getting
getting
ready,
going. Yeah.
gonna be play in time.
Yep.
So tons of stuff to look forward to in the world in all of the world of sport. But we'll start with probably one of the more buzzworthy, noteworthy discussions that started the NFL offseason. And that is the crazy blockbuster trade that was announced very early in the ribbon cutting of the NFL offseason with Max Crosby being dealt to the Baltimore Ravens, only for that to be reneged upon, sent away, and the Ravens get to enjoy paying not with draft capital, but with cold hard cash, a to their eyes suitable replacement in Trey Hendrickson. But Max Crosby has come out recently As of this recording, we're recording on Thursday the 19th. So Tuesday, Max Crosby came out and spoke about like how basically the Ravens executives scared him based on what their team doctors said in the physical. So it looks like what the Ravens and Raiders or what the Ravens are citing as a failed physical for the trade. It sounds too presto strangeo to me that what a coincidence that at the same time that possibly the communications with a divisional rival and their star edge rusher fall through. It just happened to be the same time that you're like working through the finer points of a blockbuster trade. Um, where do you shake out with like the whole scuttlebutt between the Ravens, the Raiders, and Max Crosby?
Yeah, it's I think the most obvious explanation is the correct explanation. That they took a big swing for Max Crosby. They got the public response to that, which was, "Whoa, that's an overpay for a guy about to be 29 years old, coming off of a
Mm-hmm.
knee surgery with hip issues as well." Um, and maybe the Ravens are Max Crosby away, but it's not just a Max Crosby; it's a Max Crosby, and it's next year's first round pick. And that was not just any first round pick this year, that was 14 overall. Ravens coming off a rough season, 14 overall. That is, I think 14 overall straight up for Max Crosby is too much. You're adding in next year's first round pick as well. Plus, you'd have to give him a new contract. So you're talking about two first round picks and a new contract. Plus you've lost likely in free agency, lost Linderbaum in free agency. You lost a lot of players if you're the Ravens. Does Max Crosby make up for that? Plus you're losing first round control talent. I don't think so. So I think the backlash was pretty loud and pretty quick. So you take a look, you go, oh, Trey Hendrickson, no takers on day one of free agency. That's probably for a reason. And sure, he's a couple years older, a little bit more injured, but you don't have to give up the pick to go get him. So, unfortunately, like good business just too late. Like good business, bad form by the Ravens. In the end, this is the right decision. It's the smart decision to make, but incredibly bad form by the Ravens.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it for right or for wrong. For right or for wrong, like this looks like it's the first real this is the first real move of the Ravens post Harbaugh,
Mm-hmm.
right? The shop is a little sloppy right now because they don't have a micromanager in Harbaugh
Yeah,
that's controlling all of the pieces on the board. But Harbaugh now he's with the Giants.
yeah.
Um,
And
so
you went out and
what's up with him?
You got Jesse Minter, the hot name on the defensive side of the ball for head
Right,
coaching. But when you get a coaching specialist, whether it's on the offense or defensive side of the ball, they're a specialist because they're supposed to give you an edge, and you should not have to pay top of the market level money or collateral to go get a specialist when you also have a specialist as your head coach.
right.
You know, they can't, not to our own horn, but like the Kansas City Chiefs would never trade 2 first-round draft picks to go get Justin Jefferson. Why? Because Andy Reid is an offensive guru. And the edge of having Andy Reid is that you can just cycle in Chris Conley. The Chiefs receivers go on and on. These guys who pop in, they have a nice 2 or 3 years, and then they go off, they go get paid, and they're never heard from again. McCole
Or they
Hardman. Yeah.
or the opposite of you have a player that was very great, then like falls off a little bit, comes in and gets a resurgence like a Juju Smith Schuster, right?
Yes.
Like
Yep. Hmm.
so, or rehab projects like Hollywood Brown,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Where the ceiling, you can see what the ceiling is. They haven't hit the ceiling yet. If you get a glimpse of anything close to what you think they can do, it's a victory. Um, I mean, Kadarius Tony. Do you have to say anything else? like
Yeah.
that's
Hmm.
pretty much all you have to say in regards to that. So that's an excellent point of the specialty nature where like Harbaugh is more offensive, but he has the mind for the entire field. I guess because of like playing quarterback, he knows he knows what to look for on both offense and defense. He's not necessarily he's a personnel guy, not like a master genius. Um kind of like an Andy Reid, and then looking at the younger talents now like McVay and now Super Bowl champion head coach from Seattle, McDonald. Um, like, excellent point. So, I know that there's been talks Max Crosby, like the day that the trade went south and he got back to Vegas. His first stop was the training room in the Raiders facility, and he's working out. And now he's like, he's got a fire lit under him, which I don't know how much that scares you and the Kansas City Chiefs, playing him twice a year. But hey, spite is a hell of a motivator sometimes. So,
So it's going to motivate them to 5 wins.
eh, we'll see. We'll talk about them and more as we get into the free agency talks. But in a bit of more lighthearted news around the National Football League, the Tennessee Titans unveiled a new logo and colorway,
Hmm.
which is eerily familiar to some of us. And that would be a return to the Tennessee or the Houston Oilers color scheme and logo scheme. Um, what are your thoughts, Marcus, on this facelift uh, for the Tennessee Titans?
Um, I think only bad teams concern themselves with new uniforms. So that's one. Two, you want to be the Oilers and just go be the Oilers. Right the wrongs that were committed in the process and go back and be the Oilers. Outside of that, have fun with these uniforms. I'm sure you'll change back to something in another 3 seasons.
Yeah, according to the president and CEO of the Titans, quote, we wanted to come up with something that took the best parts of all of that, meaning the 30 years of NFL history for Tennessee, and bring it together in a way that makes sense. I feel like we're building on the legacy of what got us here, and we're doing it in a way that is going to set the course of this organization for decades to come in a pretty special way. Um,
Uh-huh.
Senior vice president of brand marketing quotes, I think that the Titans blue is a really bold color, a really powerful cover, or really powerful color. I'm like, okay, cool. But for me, I love it. I do love it. It hits the nostalgia feels. Um, it's more fun. If anything, it just means that the next time I play Madden, I'm gonna look to play as the Tennessee Titans for fantasy draft purposes because the
Sure.
uniforms are gonna look slick. But like
Yeah.
at this point, the Tennessee Titans, these new jerseys are kind of lipstick on a pig. The team has way bigger fish to fry than say, a new jersey and new
Yeah.
logo.
Yeah. I mean,
They got to figure out a way to protect Cam Ward and get him more talent around him.
yeah, they're gonna have a top 4 pick again next season, I would assume. So,
Yeah,
and we'll get into it, but gotta do better than that.
yeah, for sure, and for certain. Um, Before we jump into full on NFL talk, let's loosely talk about what's happening in the association. Namely, in 2 weeks, or by the time this comes out, next week, the governors will be doing their first vote on the addition of up to 2 new teams in the association, one from Las Vegas and one from Seattle. Marcus, how does it feel to think that the association is going to grow by 2?
Way overdue. Absolutely way overdue. Yeah, I've heard people question, like, does the league have enough talent? I think they do. I think there's enough talent in the league. Um, you know, I I wish that they would take this opportunity, and I think Steve Kerr mentioned this, and some others have as well, to go from 82 to 72 with this. And it shakes out a lot better with the schedule. Basically, you play everybody in the league, one home, one away, and then you get your division games. They're never going to do that, even though it would vastly improve the quality of play, and the quality of the product on TV. The owners will never give up that revenue, even if those games are not sold out. They just will not take 10 games off their schedule. So, besides that, I'm looking forward to it. And, not just because, we're getting a new team with Las Vegas, and not just because we're getting what I assume will be a taste of the familiar, with the return of the Seattle Supersonics,
Can't wait.
who I believe it's already been said the Thunder will give them their history back.
Which
Um,
they should.
so yeah, so they'll be able to hang banners and stuff like that, and jerseys. So that's gonna be cool. It's always been weird that Seattle hasn't had a team for so much of my adult life, our adult
Yeah.
life. I think they're like a top 12 market or something like that. Like they're definitely like top 15 in the country. When you're just looking at, size, the market size, TV, ratings, all that good stuff. They're always high up there. So it'll be good to have a team back in Seattle, and I look forward to seeing one of these teams move over to the East. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping it's the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, that's like the big talk is like right now the most likely teams to move over to the East. I've seen the Timberwolves and I've seen the Grizzlies
Hmm.
as the 2 teams really to be in the loop.
Yeah.
Um I like the fact that it might be Minnesota more so because I think that it fits an an Eastern Conference Central Division way better
Yeah.
than shoehorning the Grizzlies into what the Southeast. Because you also have to think too, like, so you're bringing in 2 teams. Obviously, the Seattle team will move into the Pacific Division,
Hmm.
and then the Vegas team will move into the Southwest Division more than
Uh,
likely.
either Southwest, or they'll be in the Pacific with like Lakers. Um, That'd be Lakers, Clippers, Suns, Vegas would be the new Pacific, and then you would have like a Northwest team or Northwest division, and that would be Golden State, that would be Sacramento, that would be not Timberwolves, the Trailblazers, and that would be Seattle.
Yeah, because like right now, if you move Minnesota out, then Seattle can take their spot in the Northwest Division. And so then
Yeah.
that moves the team to the East. That gives the other team to the East. And then so that means like then you'll just make 6 teams in the Pacific.
I think they should look to
Switch
redo
it to
divisions
4.
and have
Yeah.
4. Yeah.
That should be a fun exercise for us next episode. Next time we talk is
Yeah.
because probably by the next time we're here, we'll have a better understanding of how the vote went, what the timeline looks like. We may even have names of what the Vegas team will be. Because it's pretty much like a 99.9998% chance that it is the Supersonics coming back to Seattle.
Correct.
Which is crazy that like they even left the league. The way they left the league was kind of nuts. All because of like interstate politics. Because
Yeah.
the state didn't want to build a new stadium for them, even though
Right. No.
they had just built the new Seahawks stadium,
Mhm.
or they had just built like Safeco. And
Safeco would have been the late 90s or early 2000s.
right, so that makes
Yeah.
sense. The taxpayers paid for that. And
Right. So
then
they've left what, 09? I think 09,
mm,
2010.
when did KD come into the league?
08.
Yeah, so Seattle's last year was 2008. Meanwhile, Safeco Field is now T-Mobile Park.
Yeah. That opened 01.
That opened in 1999.
99.
And then
Okay.
there's Lumen Field in Seattle. And Lumen Field opened in
2002.
2002. So the taxpayers just paid for a brand new baseball stadium, a brand new football stadium, and they didn't want to pay for a basketball stadium. So they left and went to Oklahoma City. And from that moment on, like I feel like the city of Seattle as a whole was just like calling their bluff. And then as soon as they move, it's like, oh, come on. And
Yeah.
now their old arena, the KeyBank Arena, is now Climate Pledge,
Right.
the
Been
home of the
renovated.
Kraken.
Yeah.
So, look what you could have done. You
What's
could
old
have
is
had it
new.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the latest in the Orange Bowl. The Orange Bowl getting removed and remodeled into outdoor light out
Oh,
outdoor
the
world.
Citrus Bowl.
Yeah, Citrus
Yeah.
Bowl. Sorry, the
Yeah.
Citrus Bowl
And the
being turned
Camping
into
World.
outdoor world, camping world. Yes.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Like I'm ready to. I have never rooted for a team in the NBA ever. If the Supersonics come back, I'm in. That's the
Yeah.
team.
Yeah. If you're a man of a certain age,
Yes.
yeah, the Supersonics will definitely have a place in your heart.
Yeah.
Whenever they do enter the league.
The first home game, if they don't march Sean Kemp and all his kids out there, they doing it wrong. Kemp's got to be there. Gloves got to be there. Ray Allen's got to be there.
Hersey
Detlef
Hawkins.
Schrempf. You got to bring them. You got to bring all of the Seattle players. Am I making up that Schrempf played for them for a minute?
I don't think so. I think that's correct.
Yeah, I felt like he was there before he went to
The Pacers.
After the Pacers, before the Trailblazers. Yeah, he was there for 6 years. I knew I remembered
Okay.
Detlef Schrempf on the seat on the Supersonics. But yeah, very exciting association talk that isn't are the Los Angeles Lakers a contender? That
Well,
yeah,
unfortunately worked herself into a shoot because as of now the Lakers have been on fire. They've pretty much locked up the 3 seed with a month to
yeah,
play. The Lakers are in good shape. Hey, custody battle, Luka Doncic, Michael Jordan.
I mean it's up there.
He's playing insane levels of basketball right now. And I mean, well, it's fake sports. Like, seeing LeBron, turn into the Swiss Army knife, to see
Yeah,
LeBron become the LeBron of Draymond Greens is, it's weird, but it's like, hey, like 40 plus years old, like he's still an incredibly effective player. But it's just that Reeves' skill set is pretty limited to just shooting. And Luka's usage rate is like the highest it's been, but man, it looks different, it feels different, and the uh, Lakers might mess around and end up in the conference finals.
especially considering the fact that like not to not to discredit the urgency of the regular season, but they don't need LeBron to be LeBron for 82 games in a regular season.
No, mm-mm.
They need LeBron to be LeBron for 16 games in the
Yeah,
postseason. That's it.
especially if they lock up this 3 seed and LeBron can take his annual like vacation,
Yeah.
and like LeBron can just get shut down for a couple games, and enter the postseason fresh. Um, yeah, it's could be interesting now that the Lakers have found a formula that works. I don't think they're a top contender with like the Thunder or the Spurs, but I think if you open it up beyond that, I think the Lakers got to be amongst the first teams listed, and teams in the
Right.
West.
I mean, you're already talking about, I mean, top 5 teams, honestly, the top 5 seeds, right? You got the Thunder, you've got the Spurs, the Lakers, the Wolves, and the Nuggets.
Mhm.
Um, those 5 are right there. Um,
Yeah,
what's helpful for the Lakers is the fact that as long as they lead the Pacific, they'll be where they are, right?
yeah,
Like,
and they own the tiebreaker over the Rockets, so boom, that's an extra game up on the Rockets. I think they own the tiebreaker over the Timberwolves as well, if I'm not mistaken. And trying to think what else. Their schedule. They play a lot of games. I think they play at least 5 teams that are in like full on tank mode.
yeah,
Um,
taking a look at the
so
rest of their season, right?
like they play like Brooklyn, the Jazz, like the stinky doo doo of the league.
Yeah, like right
Um,
now, taking a look, they got Miami tonight, but they've got Detroit, the Pacers, Brooklyn, Washington, Dallas, uh, and they close out the season at Utah or versus Utah, so they'll be at home. But definitely, definitely some nothing happening. Oh, and they got Cleveland too.
all right, so
Cleveland in there.
that'll be
Over
a
half their
tough game,
games,
but yeah,
but Cleveland's not really like they're in it, but they're not like
yeah,
I wouldn't say they're the same Cleveland team as they were like last year. Not
yeah.
as dangerous. But yeah, enough of the association talk. Uh while the MLB hot stove was not hot, the block was especially hot for the National Football League. We're going to go through each division, taking a look at the acquisitions they're in, and seeing like what team looks like uh, they've done the most with their coffers, so to speak.
Mm,
And we'll start with your beloved AFC West.
how about it?
Let's. How about it? Of course, you know the some of the big news. Of course, we talked about the Raiders and they're on again, off again with Max Crosby, but uh, I think the big talking point for the entire West is Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker III making his way over to the Kansas City Chiefs. 3 years, 45 million, 29 million guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus, how's the kingdom?
Vibes are immaculate. Feels good. Um, and the other maneuvering that we've done. I mean, one, like, yeah, let's talk about Kenneth Walker. This is the first time Mahomes is going to have a running back, and I don't think people realize that because it's like, oh, Kansas City, they always have running backs. It was like a season and a half of Isaiah Pacheco, because like half of that was split with, of course, I'm going to blank on his name, but the running back from LSU, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Half of that was split with Helaire, and then when Pacheco took over, he was a really good runner, but then he had the knee injury, and he was just never the same. Um, Other than that, like the best running back Mahomes has had was like a couple weeks of Damian Williams. Flashback to like the first Chiefs Super Bowl. It has been a while. Pat's never had 1,000-yard rusher. Right now, since Mahomes has been on the Chiefs, he leads the Chiefs in rushing yards. So yeah, it's real bad. Has been real bad, and this was a position that the Chiefs needed to address. They could not chance it. Um, you know, I like Travis Etienne, Travis Etienne. Um,
Hn.
I do like him, but the Chiefs could not grab him and then hope for Jeremiah Love or another running back in the draft. This is just something that had to be addressed head on, full stop. And you've got Kenneth Walker right there. And he's relatively fresh for running back because he's always had split carries in Seattle.
Right.
It's very unusual for Kenneth Walker to get more than, like 13 rushes a game. Um, so he's gonna get some more carries. He's gonna face a lot of light boxes because you have to respect what Mahomes can do. So I do think it's, quote, going to be a problem for the rest of the league now that Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes have a running back.
Yeah, and I think what another thing that isn't necessarily going to be talked about, but I like it as a depth piece, is also signing Amari DiMercato
Yes, very
from
important.
the Cardinals.
Yeah,
Uh, with the two of them plus keeping a Kareem Hunt on the payroll, that's a solid running back room.
yeah. I think Hunt will be back. Just in case for those those third down spells when needed. But getting to Mercado was a huge signing because Walker's not the greatest pass catcher. Like he can definitely break some. And he did towards the end of the season when a lot of eyes were on Seattle and like those island games. But DeMarcado ranked as like one of the best pass catching running backs. So, any weakness that Kenneth Walker has, you just made up for in a backup running back, which again, this is a quality backup running back that Kansas City has not had in a really long time. And as much as I like oh man, I'm blanking here. It's getting late, but the current Chiefs backup running back, whose name is escaping me, and that's embarrassing.
Rashard Smith.
Thank you, Brashard Smith. As much as I do like him, he's a converted wide receiver into a running back. So he's not a true running back, and he's also not good enough at wide receiver to stay at the position. So, um, I talked about it earlier, the advantages of having a specialist as, your play caller as head coach.
Right.
That's Andy Reid on the offensive side of the ball, and the Chiefs have always been able to find value at the running back position, but it just became a glaring need. Um, how many times can you continue to hit the jackpot on seventh round draft picks, sixth round draft picks, undrafted free agents? It was just time to fix this problem with money and go get the best running back available, and that was Kenneth Walker.
For sure. And of course, like Travis Kelce coming back, one more ride,
Yep.
$12 million deal that has $3 million more in incentives. But looking at the rest of your division, is there any acquisitions or deals that have been done that kind of perk your ears a little bit? Because I can see like one or two just like right off glance.
I would say I thought, let me find this here. Oh, of course, the trade that just went down a couple days ago.
Right.
The Broncos going out and getting Jalen Waddle for a first and a third and a fourth round pick swap with Miami. That pick is at the end of the first round. I think that's probably the latest pick the Broncos will ever have.
30th.
No shade to them, but it's going to be tough getting out of the AFC. I think Jalen Waddle is a number one. So I'm excited to see him get like number one reps at wide receiver. And this is the kind of swing that you should take when you have a quarterback that's on a rookie contract and you still have, I think, 2 more seasons before any kind of like extension money would kick in for Bo Nix. So these are the swings you take.
They've got 2 before the option, 5th-year option.
Yeah. So, and I assume that they're going to extend him rather than exercise that 5th-year option to lower the cap hit. So, you're probably gonna have Knicks for a while, and this is the kind of move that you make, and you go get Waddle, who's 27. He fits in very well with your timeline, and he's on a nice contract that you do not have to give him new money right now. So, it was a really good trade for Denver. I do think their hand was forced with Kansas City trading with the Rams and getting that 29th pick in return for Trent McDuffie. That is right before the Broncos draft, and the Chiefs have a history of trying to move up in the draft, either within the division or within the biggest threat in the AFC. They've done it to the Bills a couple times. Now they're doing it to the Broncos. And it just, it puts a damper on some of your draft plans if you're the other team. So, Denver kind of being massaged into this move because you don't know who or what's going to be there at 30. Kind of forced their hand there, but I think it's a good move.
For sure. The other thing that I'm interested in is seeing what the Raiders have done. Looking like they're trying to prepare a home for Fernando Mendoza. Getting Linderbaum from the Raiders on a 3-year deal. But also for them, like really shoring up that defensive side of the ball, getting guys like Kwity Paye, Nakobe Dean, Quay Walker, Teron Johnson from the Bills. I mean, those are stud players. Those are not slouches in any stretch.
Yeah.
So all of that plus a healthy Max Crosby on defense. Offense, there is still questions about consistency. They did just get Jalen Naylor on a 3-year deal at wide receiver. But very curious to see how they rake up or clean up rather in the draft. What division do you want to move to next?
I say let's go over to the NFC West.
NFC West, indeed. Tons of stuff over here. One team in particular, it seems like the worst teams in every division are the teams that just have like a grocery list of players
Mhm.
to sign. And definitely in the West, it looks like the Arizona Cardinals are that team that's just throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall trying to make it stick, right?
Yeah.
Big story for them is the moving on of Kyler Murray.
Yep.
Um, Getting rid of Kyler Murray and signing Gardner Minshew to a 1 year, $5.75 million deal. But on that too, getting a Tyler Algier, uh, a lot of offensive line help with Samalu and Elijah Wilkerson. Um, but other than that, like I just don't know what's there that's really going to make Arizona a likely landing spot, considering that they're not really in the running for like a really top quality quarterback because it's practically a one quarterback draft. It's Mendoza and
Yeah.
then you
Yeah.
wait.
Mhm.
Um, but what interests you out of the NFC West?
I mean, I got to go to the Rams. I talked about the McDuffie trade. That was a blockbuster. It was long rumored in Chiefs Kingdom, going back to even before the season ended, that hey, this is what's going to happen. McDuffie's going for that 29th pick. Um, i- a healthy return to the Chiefs, and they paid a lot of money, guaranteed money to Trent McDuffie. Don't get it wrong; he has been no worse than um, five best corners in the game since he stepped on an NFL field. He's a multi-time All-Pro. He he is as advertised, and he is now entering the prime of his career. So the Rams should be able to get the best out of McDuffie, and he also gets to return home. He gets to reconnect with some coaches as well from college, and they also got Jalen Watson from the Chiefs. He signed a 3-year, 51 million, 34 million guaranteed. Um, Quite the payday for a seventh round draft pick. So, getting Watson and McDuffie back there, that was really all they needed. This offense is ready to go, and they have the number 13 pick. Um, so they're gonna add, I think, another playmaker to this offense. At 13, they should still be able to get like a top 3 receiver in the draft at 13. Um, do they want to try to move up? There is a lot they could do. Um, at 13, uh, another pick or so, they could end up in the top 10. So a lot of intrigue around what they want to do at 13 or to see who's going to fall to them. And we get the return of the reigning NFL MVP, Matt Stafford.
Yeah,
So they look ready to run it back and, add with some additions to the defense and adding one more high level playmaker, offensive defensive side of the ball with that 13 pick.
yeah. And I think what's another thing that's lost on the Ram side is the re-signing of Cameron Curl, making him
Mhm.
a priority at safety, re-signing him for 3 years. Um, he's one of the top safeties in the league. Cannot deny that. Um, I'm very interested to see what the knee explosion factory of the San Francisco 49ers is going to be like.
Mm.
Especially with a guy like Mike Evans deciding to play next to the playing next to the knee silo. Um, but it looks like they are trying to figure out what what their wide receiver room is going to look like without Brandon Ayuk. Getting Mike Evans and Christian Kirk
Mhm.
in this offseason. Um, and of course, like on the defensive side of the ball, picking up a Dre Greenlaw, picking up a Nate Hobbs. Um, it's all there. But you know, the 49ers is a tale of two teams, right? You've got are they going to be the team that's going to make a push in the playoffs? I mean, you have to recall last season they were one game away from the number like
One seed.
the number one seed. And that was a team that was the walking wounded, like they always are. So either they're top of the conference or in the dregs. And Mike Evans choosing to sign with San Francisco, especially like reading through what Mike Evans had said. And even though he was a Tampa Bay Buccaneer for like his entire career, he wants to win and he wants to be challenged. And kudos to him, right? Because he could have been a lifer in Tampa and they might have made something happen. But especially this late, he's coming up on year 12, 11?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. He's definitely not much longer for this world, and to be able to go to San Francisco and play in a division that's not necessarily the most friendly. I mean, you got to go against the Rams twice. You got to go against the Seattle Seahawks defense twice. And Arizona plays teams tough. Like they weren't on the winning side of the ball a lot of the time, but they definitely played teams tough last year. It's going to be very interesting to see what the 49ers do. Relatively quiet are the defending champions, though. You lose Kenneth Walker, but you re-sign Rashid Shaheed. You get a couple of corners over there as well. Re-signing Joby and then getting a Commanders corner from us, Noah. I always mispronounce that last name. Not even going to try. But seeing him go over there, it's going to be interesting to see what the NFC West looks like next season, for sure. Especially considering that we still have the draft to talk about. Where to next, good sir? Or go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Seattle, they did the thing. They won the Super Bowl. It just kind of feels like, they're not set up to have a dynasty. Like this was kind of like best case scenario. And like that kind of gets lost in sports. Like field a super competitive team, a team again has the advantage of a defensive mastermind at head coach that can nail these draft picks and get guys in the room and have a defense that can win you a championship. And it's okay if you have Sam Darnold at quarterback because you can Darnold prove your defense. Like this defense will create the stops to make up for Sam Darnold throwing 4 interceptions and keep you in the game late. So, it's kind of, unless you have Patrick Mahomes, or one of these like powerhouse superhero quarterbacks, that's what you got to do. And they did it. So, shout out to the defending champs. Next division, speaking of superhero quarterbacks, let's hop over to the AFC East, Mr. Tim.
Oh, well, who's the superhero quarterback over here? Is it Tua Tagovailoa? No, he's not there anymore.
Not him.
What about
Geno Smith?
Geno Smith, the returning Jet? Not maybe him.
Not quite.
And like I know Drake May had a really great year last year, making it to the Super Bowl, but I wouldn't call him a superhuman either.
It's early. It's early. He's heading to year 3, narrowly losing out on the MVP. They get him a wide receiver in Romeo Doubs. Just to see how Dobbs looks now as the unquestioned number 1 in an offense. And other than that, like the Patriots are just going to continue to build a solid team, not get ahead of themselves. And they have a super competent head coach in Mike Vrabel. But the superhero to talk about in this division, of course, is Josh Allen. The back-to-back reigning defending MVP and Super Bowl champion and Super Bowl MVP. He's never been to a Super Bowl. However, probably QB2 in the league. Can't deny the talent, even though that monster, that guy who threw a backwards pass, still lives in there. The guy who threw a pass in a game against the Kansas City Chiefs about 5 yards in front of the line of scrimmage while he was running, he's still in there. Um, you know, I called it. I thought that if they lost, that the head coach had to go, um, and he did. And they decided to move on. Um, and they promote Joe Brady, and I don't know how that's going to turn out for them. Um, I don't feel great about it, but the GM certainly wasn't going to go. And by the time that they end up firing the head coach, moving on, um, a lot of the coaches had kind of been taken, so they're kind of stuck promoting Brady, and they do make the big move, and they trade for DJ Moore. Quite the return for DJ Moore, giving up a second round pick this year, um, and a 2026 fifth round pick. But the big thing there is the guaranteed money and new contract for DJ Moore. Um, Quite the new contract and extension, a lot more than anybody had really thought of. Now, it is notable that DJ Moore did have his best seasons when Joe Brady was in Carolina. These two have some magic, so you got to figure that DJ Moore is going to have a resurgence after being a solid hand in Chicago for the last couple of years. But um, the narrative's got to stop that Josh Allen doesn't have any help. It's never been accurate. It's never been true. He has the best running back in football on his team. He has what ended up being a top 4 tight end room with Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid. They just extended Knox, so he's coming back. Looks like he might end up being a career Bill. They get Connor McGovern to come back, so he's going to continue to have the best offensive line in football. So you have the best running back room, you have the best offensive line, you've got a top 4 tight end group, and the Bills had a top 5 in spending wide receiver room last season. And everybody's like, oh, he's throwing to bums. Well, like, they invested.
Paid the bums.
They invested and they paid the bums. And when you are a superhero quarterback, you get paid to elevate the bums. And I'm sorry, but like, when I've seen Patrick Mahomes drag a practice squad wide receiver room to back-to-back Super Bowls, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it. Like, he is your contemporary. That's the guy that you're chasing, and you've not come close to, knocking him off. You just got to get the job done. And it's like, oh, well, well, like, you had a defensive-minded head coach. And, your defense is super scary in September and October, but it always melts down, and you always give up 28 points a game come the playoffs. So they went out, they get Bradley Chubb, big 3-year, $45 million deal, $29 million guaranteed for him. They bring in some safety and corner help to shore up the defense. They redo a deal with Bass to give them a little bit more flexibility with the cap. So, it didn't happen last year, and the Ravens and the Chiefs were not in your way, and you still found a way during this whole time. The New England Patriots, who were the boogeyman of the division, went from not having Tom Brady to getting Mac Jones, to getting rid of Mac Jones, to having to find a new quarterback, to getting a new quarterback, and now he has caught up to you. You just squandered the last 5 years that you had. So, shame on the Bills. But, you had a nice 5-year window to do something. And the best you did was you came close to almost beating the Kansas City Chiefs in a pretty sweet divisional round game. That's about it.
Yeah, I think one thing to talk about too when you're talking about the DJ Moore deal is the DJ Moore deal that they cut with him was more of a restructuring, and they converted his salary for the 2026 season and converted that to a signing bonus.
Yeah.
So that
But
opened up like 18 million in cap for this year.
for
It's
this year,
definitely yeah.
for long term though, like you got to think long term when you have a quarterback like Josh Allen as well. Like that
Yeah.
dude's stuck on the team. He's getting guaranteed money over the next 3 seasons. That's
He's
nuts.
he's a $30 million cap hit over the next 3 seasons. So 27, 28, and 29.
Yeah.
He's a $30 million cap hit
Like
as
think T
opposed
Higgins. Like is DJ Moore going to be T Higgins over the next 3 years?
I mean so well I'll ask this and not to like get into the weeds, but like of the three big receivers, or I won't even say big, but like the top three receivers in that receiver room between DJ Moore, Khalil Shakur, or Sharif,
Shakir, yeah.
and or Shakir, and Keon
Coleman.
Coleman,
Mm-hmm.
you'd probably want to pay DJ Moore. So
Well, you
like,
want to pay DJ Moore. I just don't think you have to do it over the next 3 seasons.
right, but having him locked up for 3 seasons, even though it is a hefty price tag, it gives you a little bit of wiggle room when the other two come up and they are underperforming like a Keon Coleman, right?
We'll see.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Other than that, I mean, big notable moves in the AFC East. Romeo Doubs coming from the Packers over to the Patriots on a 4-year, $70 million contract. Doubs being one of those like 5 number 2 wide receivers that the Packers had, that literally like they didn't have one number 1, they had like 5 number 2s.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So now Dobbs being there in the place of Stephon Diggs is going to be nice for them. On the Dolphins side of the ball, it looks like they have already decided that they are in the march for Arch.
Yeah.
In signing, love him in Madden. I love him as a player. Malik Willis, a 3-year, $67 million deal. 45 fully guaranteed to be the sacrificial lamb at quarterback for the season.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean, and if anything tells you that the Dolphins were ready to lose now, they do themselves the favor and they offload Minkah Fitzpatrick off to
Mm-hmm.
the Jets in exchange for a 7th this year.
Pretty much a salary dump.
It's 100% a salary dump. Minkah's contract was up. He would have had 1 year left on his deal. That while Minkah has done a bunch for the team, he's not going to win in New York, but
Right.
he was definitely not going to win in Miami.
Yeah.
So listening to him and sending him off for a 3-year, $40 million extension with the Jets is nice. Pairing him with Andre Cisco, who re-signed for a year. They did some offensive line work over at the Jets and franchise tagging Breece Hall
Mm-hmm.
while they continue to work on a long-term contract. And you kind of mentioned Geno Smith earlier, who is going to be the sacrificial lamb in the Jets March for Arch. Geno had 1 good year or two. I wouldn't even say he had a good year. I say he had 2 serviceable years with the Seahawks that tricked the Raiders into overpaying him. He was there for a year and gone for 2026 7th. Or it's more like a pick. It was Geno and a 7th for a 6th.
Yeah. And getting off of some of that money. Yeah.
Oh, a lot of that money. But yeah, I think the East, unfortunately, it's going to be a 1-2 Patriots Bills type thing.
Yep. Yep.
And can Josh be Josh? Will DJ Moore be the missing ingredient? Who knows? That's why the games are played. What's next for you, Marcus?
Let's hop over, Mr. Tim, to your NFC East.
Oh, my boy.
Your boys. I'll set
Yeah.
you up here, Mr. Tim. I'll set you up. All right. So your Commanders are bringing back Marcus Mariota on a
Yes.
1-year deal, $7 million.
Great backup.
High end backup. Definitely going to get some starts. I think that's a very fair and good contract. Bringing in Jerome Ford into the running back room, re-signing McNichols. I think a big addition is Rachaad White, who is a streaky player, but definitely a contributor, I would say. Outside of that, kind of some wide receivers to fill out your room. Locking up Tunsil for the next 2 years. Shoring up your offensive line a little bit more, some additions. I think the other big addition on the defensive side of the ball, which you definitely invested a lot in, of course, is Ole from the Chargers. He was probably the premier pass rusher in free agency, even I would say more than Trey Hendrickson. So you guys got him for 4 years, $100 million. Omenahu is a streaky player, but he's also a pro. You need those on team. But I would say the other big addition is a very interesting player from my Kansas City Chiefs, Leo Chenal, who is one of the freakiest of freak athletes I've seen play football. An amazing kind of do-it-all linebacker who, because of the scheme, just could not get enough snaps in Kansas City for us to justify what he ended up getting paid, which was a 3-year, nearly $25 million deal. He's young. I think he's 20, just turned 25 or is about to turn 25. So he's young. You're going to get him for the meat of the prime of his career. But the main thing, Mr. Tim, I mean, you got that 7 pick. Is that correct?
7.
7, you could do a lot with that 7 pick. You might have your pick of the receivers. You might have your pick of the running backs. Or I would assume you might have your pick of edge rushers. How do you feel about your free agency so far? And follow-up question, what do you want to see them do with that 7 pick?
I love the aggression that the Commanders have shown in this offseason. Rachaad White is going to be great for them as a pass catching back for them. He's not a reliable every down player, but he's definitely a great pass catcher. He'll fill the void that Austin Eckler he took up. That's going to be nice. Getting De'Ami Brown back on a really short 1 year, really small 1-year deal. He's a guy who can take the top off of the defense. We need that when Scary Terry may not be on the field. I love Treylon Burks. He was the guy who practice squad last year from the Tennessee Titans. Eventually found his way onto the field and pulled off one of the greatest catches of the entire season. He's dynamic, and giving him an opportunity to play in the slot or with some other good receivers is going to be nice. Chikakonkwo, who's going to be coming in and filling in for the Zach Ertz role, younger, faster, great pass catcher. Is not just a great route runner. He's someone who wants to go deep. I'm cool with that. I love me a good young safety net tight end. Give it to me. Hopefully we see some more of Ben Sinnott as well. I like the signing of the re-signing of Laramie Tunsil. I like the Nick Allegretti re-signing too. I don't love the fact that we don't have a center right now. The center position now being lost as we lost Tyler Balazzi. I always mispronounce the last name, but Tyler went over to he's with the Chargers now. Biadazi, he's with the Chargers now. But on the defensive side of the ball, Chason from the Patriots, Amenahue, Olway, re-signing wise, we got Tim Settle back at the D tackle. Chenal is a guy that we wanted to draft 3 years ago when Kansas City took him. So he has been in the Commanders Rolodex for years. And now we're finally able to get our hands on him. Amik Robertson at corner. He's a dog. He's undersized, but he plays tough and he's great. And I feel like I'm going through every player we re-signed, but I feel like everyone that we've re-signed is meaningful to me. The defense got younger, it got hungrier. We also re-signed 2 big glue guys for the team that maybe don't necessarily mean much in regards to the X's and the O's, but Jeremy Reeves at safety and Tress Way at punter. Like those 2 dudes are Commanders. Like that's you got to have players like that on the team. And we still have a bunch of cap room. We still have the possibility to go out and get more. To answer your question about what I want to see in the draft, it's really hard to not get excited about Love. It's really hard to not get excited about arguably the blue chip running back in the draft.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, without question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to put things in perspective real quick for people who may have missed the combine, or you're like, oh, this is just another running back being hyped because we're kind of like in the age of the running backs mattering again. Jeremiah Love ran almost exactly the same numbers as Jahmyr Gibbs. However, he's 4 inches taller and he's about 30 pounds heavier. So imagine that. He's bigger, he's just as fast, and he's stronger. And he has the same skill set as Jahmyr Gibbs. So that's the type of difference maker these teams are looking to add, within the first, I would say 7 picks, because I don't think he falls past 7. Do you think he's going to be there at 7? Or do you think you guys are going to have to move up to go get him?
Let me look at the NFL draft list, like the actual draft order right now. So you've got the Raiders at 1. The Raiders got Genty. They don't need a running back.
Mm-hmm.
The Jets are at 2. They're trying to work out a deal with Breece Hall.
Right.
It's probably not going to be for him. The Cardinals at 3, maybe. But they've got a lot more problems than just running back.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Tennessee Titans at 4. They probably need to go a receiver. The Giants at 5.
Right.
Do you love Scattaboo? Where's Scattaboo?
I know Scattaboo was hot for a minute and everybody's favorite white boy, but that is not an every down back in the NFL. He's just not.
Right.
And nothing about him coming out of college indicated that. He was a fun player on a really bad team.
And it's interesting to see what like a guy like Tyrone Tracy, right? Like, what does Tyrone Tracy look like on that Giants roster? They got Devin Singletary. What's Singletary going to look like? Is it going to be a running back by committee, which it's a Harbaugh offense? Harbaugh, until he got Derrick Henry, was running his pick of the litter at running back at any given moment. Is it Dobbs or Dobson? Is it I'm blanking on just the murderer's row of what running backs you shouldn't take in a fantasy football draft because you can't bank on any of them because you never know who's going to be the vulture. So it could be the Giants. I don't think the Browns go running back either.
Yeah, I don't think the Browns do either.
Which means it's the Commanders. And why not us, right? Like, again, Big Bill, I love him. But to have Jeremiah Love and Bill and Rashad White, and like, I'm sad that we lost Chris Rodriguez over this offseason too. He's signed with a different team, but I would have really loved to see what he would have done in this offense too. My heart's with Jeremiah Love. I mean,
Love is just such a different caliber of player than everybody you just listed. Like,
right.
He's a true standalone. Like, it's like, it projects. It's like him and Gibbs and maybe Bijan. Like, Love is, projected to enter this league and immediately be, RB1 or RB2 in the league.
Yeah, and like smaller sample size, but Jaden Daniels hasn't had a running back either.
Right.
Like the same defense you had against Pat Mahomes, the Commanders have it too. But the Commanders have the opportunity to, in his third season, get him a running buddy that's going to be there possibly the duration of his career, right? Like, again, projecting. But it does say a lot, like Notre Dame running back-to-back 1,000+ yard rushing seasons, back-to-back 15+ rushing touchdown seasons. And the reason I bring that up is because Notre Dame doesn't have a conference. They play the toughest of the toughest across the entire NCAA. Like, there's rarely a game on their schedule that wasn't a contender to be a playoff contender, right? And so that says a lot. I'm really hoping for Jeremiah Love.
All right.
But I mean, the rest of the division has done a lot. I mean, let's look at the Eagles. The Eagles, we'll talk about one of their big losses a little bit later, but getting re-signing Dallas Goedert on a 1-year deal.
Yeah, it was a surprise. Yep.
It's a surprise. But them getting Tariq Woolen from the Seahawks.
Yeah.
1-year deal, kind of a prove it deal. I'm cool with it. He's coming off of his best season. It's hot, and they didn't necessarily overpay for him. So that looks good. The big question in Philly is always the AJ Brown scenario. Is he staying? Yeah. Is he going?
Yeah.
Who knows, right?
Feels like they cannot bring him back into the locker room, and shots are not fired, Brett. No shots fired here. It just feels like this should have been done a while ago, and I know the massive dead cap hit that comes with AJ Brown. It just seems like a cost that you might have to eat if you want to get back to the Super Bowl. And I know they won the Super Bowl with him being a malcontent and a diva wide receiver and all that stuff. Like, I know that you guys have done it before. However, do you want to try to do it again, or do you want to get something for him? You'll get a first-round pick and some back for him and try to run this thing back with a happy, harmonious locker room.
Right. I mean, and it's crazy to say because, like, yes, they get Hollywood Brown. So they have someone that they can put on the opposite side of the ball of Devontae, who is probably their number one receiver. He plays quietly like a Larry Fitzgerald, where he's just like, he's quietly the greatest receiver. But AJ Brown is so explosive, but I think there's just enough discontent that possibly they can look to move off of him. Curious to see if they do that. As far as the other two teams in the league, the big thing for me, I hate that I love the re-signing of Javonte Williams in Dallas. He's really good. I'm
Yeah, he was
glad
really
that
good for them.
he's a really good fit for them. He's not a Marion Barber, he's not an Ezekiel Elliott, but he is a guy who, I mean, he was a part of that running back by committee in Denver a few years ago. And now he's proving he's a lead dog. I mean, it's very similar to something that we will see from the AFC East this year, like with not the AFC East, but where did running back for Tyler Algier? Tyler Algier for the Cardinals, right? You know, a running back who was not the number one, who could have been a number one more than likely. Now he's getting his shot. Very interesting to see that. George Pickens getting the franchise tag.
Right. Will he play on it? Are they going to have to get a deal done? Yeah.
I think there's more of a likelihood that Pickens gets moved with the tag to let him re-sign with another team.
That would be curious. Like, just coming off of talking about AJ Brown, if these teams, if the AJ Brown price tag, which does seem to be a first and probably a second, is what the Eagles are holding out for, I think the likelihood is you're looking at something along the lines of the Jalen Waddle trade. A late first and a third, and then a later pick swap. But all that to say, if that price is too rich for you, do you go out and get him? Like,
right? Do you trade do you try to trade for that too? Like,
right?
Do you trade AJ Brown and picks, or AJ Brown for Pickens and picks? Like, maybe you can't get a 1 and a 2 plus Pickens, but Pickens is he's a younger, different kind of problematic wide receiver, right?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's almost, you're exchanging almost like apples for slightly smaller apples with AJ Brown.
Right, but I
think
like,
yeah, if you're missing out on the AJ Brown, let's say the Patriots, right? The Patriots are not interested in giving up the and some for AJ Brown. Maybe they'll do 31, but they won't do 31 plus next year's second or third rounder.
Which I don't see why they wouldn't, because they're going to be one of the top 6 teams in the NFL next year. More than likely, that pick's going to be late in the second or third. Like, for an AJ Brown to immediately come in and be a number 1 receiver with Drake May, putting him and then having God, we literally just talked about them, but like Romeo Dobbs on the other side of the ball, like, that's not a bad 1-2 combo. And they've got the young running back that they got last year, Henderson. Like, it's not bad, but in the Giants, I'm intrigued by the Giants. I mean, already Harbaugh getting his hands on things, getting Patrick Ricard from the Ravens, getting Isaiah Likely from the Ravens.
Yeah.
But also getting Calvin Austin III, who underperformed in Pittsburgh last year. Darnell Mooney, who underperformed last season as well. A lot of offensive line help for them as well.
Right. And it should be noted, they'll be getting Neighbors back off the ACL.
Right. I mean, that's another thing too. So like, that team that team's going to be good with Jackson Dart. Like, again, but you talk about Scadaboo, you can say the exact same things about Jackson Dart, right? Can Harbaugh drill into this quarterback some sort of self-preservation, right? Which, again, and this too, but like with a lot of quarterbacks, sometimes they don't know how to play unless they can play full speed, right? Or not be able to change who they are. Look at guys like RG3. Look at guys like Cam Newton. Look at guys like, even to a certain degree, like, Josh Allen, right? You take away what he does to make him a spark plug. If you told Josh Allen to stop running, is he an MVP candidate?
Yeah. No, definitely not. It's just,
or is he's not a pocket quarterback. So like,
yeah,
if Dart is going to be that dynamic offensive playmaker that he proved to be in the rookie season,
he better grow 4 inches and put on about 50 pounds.
Yeah. Or the opposite. Have so many other weapons around you, like an Isaiah Likely, like bringing back Neighbors, having a Cam Scattaboo, banking on one of these other players. And like, they re-signed a lot of their offensive line too. From what I understand coming out of the Giants camp is Harbaugh's going clean slate with the offensive line. It's like, hey, I don't care what you did under the last head coach. You got a fair shake with me. Let's see what you can do. And that's why he re-signed guys who probably shouldn't have been re-signed, like Evan Neal, right?
Yeah.
Evan
probably
Neal.
Out of the league.
Unless maybe it wasn't the message, it was the messenger. Maybe Harbaugh drills something into Neal and awakens him, right?
Right. And Harbaugh also has the benefit of the doubt that, he can give the guys in the room a shake and see this season, who he has, who he wants to keep moving forward. And then this team could look a lot different come next season.
For certain. Carrying on though, where do we want to go to next, good sir?
You want to hop over to we've been talking about a lot, the AFC North.
The North. And of course, there's a ton to talk about in the AFC North as well. Big thing is, at least in your regards, right? And I'm curious to see how this works, but what do you make of the Minnesota Vikings signing a 1-year deal for Kyler Murray, knowing that they've got JJ McCarthy?
So hop over to the NFC North then.
I thought that's what you said.
I thought I said AFC, but we'll say in the NFC North.
Okay. Yep.
I look, they needed the quarterback depth last season, so I understand getting Kyler Murray on the cheap to bring in a pro, but I think people's idea of Kyler Murray doesn't line up with the output. The truth is he's had 80 plus games, and when you're comparing him to other quarterbacks like a Sam Darnold or Geno Smith, they had way less starts than Kyler Murray has by like seasons. Enough that I believe this is who Kyler Murray is, and that he is not even bottom half. He's a bottom third quarterback in the league. Just seems to be who he is. And, I think to give up on JJ McCarthy so quickly when you made a big reach to go get him and you let Sam Darnold go out the door because you said, oh, let's try this thing on a rookie QB scale and build the team around a rookie QB. And I'm Kevin O'Connell. I can get anything out of JJ McCarthy. Well, you can't get JJ McCarthy to stay on the field, and you end up starting Carson Wentz, who they just brought back today, and you get Max Brosmer. So I feel bad for Justin Jefferson. He went on a little media tour the week of the Super Bowl, and he did let it be known, like, hey, like Sam Darnold's the best quarterback that I've played with, and look what I've done. And nothing but love to Sam Darnold, but I think it's probably as squeaky as he's gonna get of being like, this ain't it.
Right.
This ain't it. So yeah, for his sake, I hope this is the last season of Justin Jefferson in Minnesota, because I don't think they're going to pull the nose up from this thing anytime soon. And I'd hate to see the rest of the prime of his career wasted, having a
Right.
revolving door backup quarterbacks throw him the ball.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that possibility though with Kyler, like right guy, wrong place. Like being in Arizona, maybe that place wasn't for
Sure.
him. And Justin Jefferson has proved to be the most quarterback agnostic wide receiver out there. And Kyler's arm talent is there. It's just his durability that's been in question.
It's 10 games. It's 10 games. Like any way you slice or dice it, he has 10 games in him.
Yeah.
That's not a starting quarterback.
Right.
But
what's to say there's not a possibility or a chance, like even 1 year, right? Like what if he's good enough to be a stopgap, they win, or they get something, and like I don't know. Like Justin Jefferson's just too good to have such mediocre quarterback play.
To the Vikings, I've spent a lot of time on the Vikings here, but like to their credit, and this is the last thing I'll say about them, is they beat the Lions, I think, twice last season. They played the Bears and the Packers really tough. I think they split with them. They did really well in the division, and I do think the NFC North is the toughest division in football. No shade to the NFC West. But the gap between these teams isn't all that big. So I don't think it would take too much for things to swing in the right direction in the Vikings to end up back in the playoffs. But they definitely have the longest shot of anybody in the division.
For sure. Looking at the rest of the NFC North, biggest losers come in the way of the Green Bay Packers. Congratulations on saddling yourself to the human toaster oven, Benjamin St. Just, who is going to allow Justin Jefferson and whoever Caleb Williams is going to throw the ball to, and whoever quarterback for the Lions, Ham, what's his name? Jared Goff. All I could think was Sam Darnold, because they're the same guy. That's 6 touchdowns right there. Like easy. You want to lose? Benjamin St. Just. Best thing we ever did as the Commanders is get rid of him. But they replace Romeo Doubs with another number 2 and Sky Moore. So good for them. Number 2's generous. He's probably going to be
he's a really good kick returner. So he's a very good special teams player.
But I think the big action is on with the Lions and the Bears. The Lions losing, I believe they no longer have David Montgomery, right? They
traded David Montgomery. They got a nice haul in return for him, which is surprising because Montgomery is a 29-year-old running back. So, getting what they did for him was pretty impressive. Other than that, like, the bill comes due. These windows close quickly. Again, unless you have Patrick Mahomes or one of these rock star superhero quarterbacks, the windows close super quick. And it, wasn't all that long ago where we're like, oh, the Lions, they're right on the cusp, and they're a half away from making the Super Bowl. Okay, they're a couple plays away from making the Super Bowl. Okay, they got the 1 seed. Like, it comes fast in the NFL, and the bills have come due for the Lions. They have not been making the big splashes that you have come to expect from them. The biggest addition on the offensive side of the ball is Isaiah Pacheco. And again, like, that's less than $2 million. He's going to be a backup running back. Now, Gibbs really did come out last season and prove that he can be an every down running back because of his skill set. You can pass him the ball, you can swing him out, you can let him run. There's so much you can do with him. But it's kind of the guys in the room are the guys in the room. and you hope to nail these draft picks, which they have. They've been very good in the draft, but they invest a lot in keeping the guys there that are there. They've lost some people to retirement or to free agency and trades, but you can't have everything. Like, again, unless you want to hit on this draft on the defensive side of the ball, I think the Lions, they're the team that you see them now. I don't think there's anything else to do. Just got to roll the ball out there and get close to a 10-win team.
Right. I mean, it is very interesting though. They did make some signings in the trenches on the offensive side, signing Cade Mays, excuse me, at center, and then the other half of that David Montgomery trade is getting Juice Scruggs from the Texans.
And he's a borderline practice squad guy.
Right, but I mean, if it's included in the deal, right, and worth noting, it's him and a fourth and a seventh for David Montgomery.
He's just a guy, like, if he's playing, your season has gone to crap because the injuries have torn through your team. Not to say he's bad, that's just where he's at in the league. Yeah.
But the Bears quietly, nothing real sexy other than at center getting Garrett Bradbury from the Patriots for a fifth. And solidifying stuff on defense. So it's going to be very interesting to see what Caleb Williams does next season. First season, they were in 2 consecutive years, they were the team who lost every close game, and then the team that won every close game. And as a team that has done that in the last 2 years as well, the year that you win every game by really close feels really great, and the year that you don't sucks. And it sucks that we sweat. Don't talk to me about losing.
The Chiefs lost a whole bunch of 1-score games last season. Now it's time for it to turn back around and take it all the way. But yeah, the Bears, I think the main thing for them is like addition by subtraction, just getting DJ Moore out so you can get Luther Burden some more touches. He really came on towards the end of last season. The other wide receiver, Romeo,
Ham, rookie or young player. I'm looking it up.
Roma Dunze. Roma
Dunze.
Oh yeah, edit that one out. Yeah, I think just freeing it up and buddy. The big tight end, man, is getting late because I'm struggling with names. Loveland. Freeing up some space to get those guys some more touches was definitely the right thing to do.
Right. I mean, and they do fill in a little bit of the gap, getting Khalif Raymond as well filling in. So like they have depth, but he's definitely he's definitely a wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 on occasion.
Yeah.
He's not going to garner the same type of heat that a DJ Moore would, but Colston Loveland proved last season to be a very viable threat for the offense.
Oh yeah.
So
for sure.
You lose a wide receiver threat, but you gain a tight end threat. I think that's better off for Caleb Williams than it is for anything else.
Yeah.
Let's switch over to the division you wanted to talk about before when I wasn't listening, and that is the AFC North. And really the big talking point is the Trey Hendrickson deal to the Ravens, right? We've already talked about them. We've talked about them. The rest of the AFC North, kind of middling, right? I mean, not necessarily middling, but
just quiet.
The Bengals
The Bengals have never been known to be big spenders.
Yeah.
Like they retained Orlando Brown. They've never been known to be big spenders because, the Brown family is cash poor, so they never have the money on hand to pay free agents and to put it into the bank account so that money vests. So yeah, like nothing to worry about the Bengals. I think the main thing, sorry Browns, it's really not worth anything talking about. Is Michael Pittman getting traded from the Colts.
Yeah.
An interesting fit, like another big-bodied wide receiver, might be a little redundant to the skill set of DK Metcalf, but if you get Aaron Rodgers back, or if you are going to go with Will Howard as your quarterback, you're giving them some big bodies to throw to, and you still have all those big tight ends. So yeah, I mean, size queens up in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, they also got Rico Dowdle, which last year was a great year for him, coming off of his best season so far with Carolina. So to him be over there with the Steelers is really nice. Crazy that last season it was the will he won't he show with Cameron Hayward, who re-signs a 2-year $32 million deal with half of that being guaranteed. But also too, them re-signing Asante Samuel Jr., getting Jamel Dean as well, and getting a Jaquan Brisker as well. Like, the Steelers are always a team that's hovering around the playoffs, and I think they do just enough. They're going to do just enough here to be sneaky good in the division, right? Like, this division is a 10-win division, right? Like it's got like race to 10, race to 11. Because what are the Ravens going to be? Like, what are the Ravens going to be under their new head coach? What is the Bengals going to be, considering that, like, they're already making some sort of moves. I mean, their backup quarterback now is Josh Johnson. As Browning has moved on to a new team. Like, the Browns will always be the Browns because they will always have the unstoppable force Myles Garrett on the team. But are they going to be like, is it the Shadur show again next season? Yeah. Right. So it looks like it's the Steelers division to win. Depending on who they get. I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit later with players that are still available out there for teams to get a hold of. We'll talk about that as we wrap up everything else with the teams. So there's definitely a big gap to fill in Pittsburgh if they're not fully in love with Will Howard as their starting quarterback.
Yeah, it's going to be. I assume Rodgers is coming back,
right?
Especially with Mike McCarthy there. And the main theme with this division is the head coaching turnover. You got Jesse Minter in Baltimore. You got Todd Monken taking over in Baltimore or in Cleveland, and Big Mike out there in Pittsburgh. So for a division that has been known for its consistency at head coach, a lot of turnover at head coach, and again, I do feel like it's going to be a race to 9 to win this division again.
Yeah. Let's stay in the AFC side since we crisscrossed applesauce. We'll wrap up things with the AFC South and NFC South. Starting with the AFC, and the Colts out here busting out the piggy bank, re-signing Daniel Jones on a 2-year, $88 million deal, with still another $12 million left in incentives, and making the big investment for Alec Pierce. That's a huge investment for a guy who he had a good year last year, but
he's had a couple of good years.
but that's on a rookie deal. I don't know if I love Alec Pierce making top end wide receiver money. Like
I don't know
30
if I
million a
like
year
him at
is
4.
crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah. But hey, they committed to him. I I just I don't love what they've done in free agency. Talking about the Colts, Daniel Jones coming off an Achilles tear. That's
What's he
some
going to be
big money
like?
for him. I know that they gave up a lot to go get Sauce Gardner, and that quickly backfired. Missing 2 first-round picks for him. So again, you got to kind of look to the guys in the room and be like, we got to get it done. Which they can. They can in this division. I don't think this division is so daunting. The Texans, you see a lot, probably the most transactions we've seen on the list here. But I don't think any of these really move the needle. I mean, you're keeping Danielle Hunter on a staggering 1-year, $40 million extension, which includes $30 million in signing bonus. So that's telling you, like, for them, they are all in on this season coming up. Maybe they got a
Right.
taste of the playoffs. They know how good that defense is. That defense is, young, and they're only going to continue to get better as they continue to play. And yeah, you got some veteran leadership there. So, the main thing with them is, like, is CJ Stroud good?
I
Or
don't
was it
know.
just that one season? Because he's had more bad than good. And I know the good was so high that it
Right.
feels like it wasn't all that long ago, but he's played more bad football than good football.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing. He just got his hair cut, so obviously that's what was holding him back. Fresh
Must have
cut,
been.
fresh. Yeah, I know. The one thing you didn't mention is the addition of an exciting white over with the Texans getting Reed Blankenship
Yeah.
from the Eagles, solidifying that defense a little bit
Yeah, I mean, he
more,
joins an
extending the
absolute
safety
stacked
position.
defense.
Can't go wrong. I mean, the Seahawks just proved to you what a team can do with
Yeah, I mean, it's the same
not
formula. Yeah,
not lights out quarterback play
right.
and a lights out defense.
It's the same formula, and I think the bar was even lower in the AFC this playoffs, and the Texans couldn't clear it. That's how bad
Right.
Stroud was. So, I mean, he's really going to be the X factor, which feels weird and obvious for a quarterback to be the X factor, but like it really does come down to him, whether they win this division, or they fail to make the playoffs. I think both options are on the table.
Yeah, the Jaguars very quiet.
Very quiet. They were very active last season, so it's
Right.
kind of like you made a lot of your investments last season. Quieter off season this year, and of course they're going to be missing that first round pick this year. That was in the Travis Hunter deal to move up. The Browns will have that pick. So, yeah, another season where it's kind of the guys that are already in the room. They got your boy Chris Rodriguez to get some snaps at running back, but
which
not a
they'll
whole
have the
lot.
room for now that Travis Etienne is gone, or Etienne is
Yeah.
gone. So that running back room is definitely wide open. Interesting to see what the Titans did. I mean, getting Wan'Dale Robinson. Now that Daboll is over now with the Titans.
A bold strategy as we just run through so many of the Titans. You mentioned Robinson, Daniel Bellinger coming over.
Yep.
Let me bring over all the guys who got me fired from my previous job to help me at my new job.
Yeah. I mean, Cordell Flott, Alante Taylor at corner, John Franklin Myers in the D line. So like just some names that are there, but it's really down to Houston and Indy for me. Like, what is Daniel Jones going to be like after his Achilles tear, right? Is there enough time, really? Because you have to recall that Achilles tear was near the end of the season. Like,
Yeah.
they were 6 games away, 5 or 6 games outside of
Yeah.
the playoffs.
Yeah,
So
I don't think he's going to be back this season. If he is, it'll be in the back end, and he won't be anywhere close to the form that he was in. So,
right,
I think if anything, we're seeing the Achilles tears are truly a 2-year injury in the NFL.
right.
You might make it back in a season, but you're not fully yourself until that second season.
Right.
I think again, it's a turnover with the coaching staffs in this division. Getting Big Bob Saleh in. I think that's probably going to be the most interesting addition for the Titans. And I expect these Titans Jags games to be a little spicy.
A little
Because there was some
chippy.
bad blood between Liam Cohen and Big Bob Saleh. So I am looking forward to maybe a mid-off in some of these games, but I do think it's it's going to be filled with bad blood.
For sure. And as we wrap up the talks of those that have signed or come back, let's close out with the NFC South. And honestly, the most interesting thing I'm seeing is the move of Tua Tagovailoa signing a veterans minimum to sit behind Michael Penix. Or will he sit behind Michael Penix?
Right. They did come out and say it's going to be a competition, so he's going to have a shot at the job. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, Miami's going to be paying
worth
his
the
salary.
Minimum.
Well, yeah. I mean, Miami's going to be paying his salary, so he's worth a shot. He's had some pretty high highs.
Essentially playing for free.
Yeah. And Penix does have an extensive injury history, so you do need a backup who can play. So, worth the shot. The Saints, they continue to pay the bill for the last couple seasons where they had no business trying to contend. And they kept kicking the can down the road for the salary cap. The main thing there we talked about already is Travis Achant, formerly Travis Etienne. But they have a nice pick at 8. So they could be in the sweepstakes for a receiver. They could just grab the best player available. The Tampa Bay Bucks. The big loss is Mike Evans.
Yep.
That stings. But they had the rookie wide receiver coming out of Ohio State who really took the league by storm for a couple weeks there. Kenneth Gainwell on a 2-year deal for $14 million. He's not bad. And I know Alex Anzalone is a name that we've heard a lot on those Fox broadcasts.
Right.
But he's a pro, and the Bucs defense is always filled with pros. So I expect them to definitely contend for the division.
Yeah, and that wide receiver you were talking about, Tez Johnson for Tampa Bay.
Oh.
Or no, Ekma
Abuka. Yeah.
Abuka. Sorry, completely whiffed.
Sorry.
Like looking, I'm like, oh, because I love Tez Johnson, so I'm like, oh yeah, you're talking about Tez. No, it's the other guy, the guy who's
quite the
absolutely going to be the
for
new
Tez
Mike
Johnson.
Yeah. Quite the offseason, unfortunately. But the Carolina Panthers getting Hall of Fame quarterback Kenny Pickett to join the team.
Kenny Baga Pickett, if you will. But he'll be the new backup.
Whopper hands himself.
Yeah. I think the other big addition is on the defensive side of the ball. I know they got some names: Devin Lloyd, Isaiah Simmons. Like these are all names that you would recognize. But the big difference maker was the huge overpay for Jalen Phillips. I don't think anybody had Jalen Phillips getting this kind of money. 4 years, $120 million. I think at least 80 of that I could be mistaken, but I felt like 80 of that was guaranteed. It was a staggering number. Um, you know, and sometimes when you've been a bad team, you've been a bad franchise, you've got to overpay to get good players in the building and build yourself back up to being a consistent program. So that might have been what that was all about. If not, I'm sure we'll see Jalen Phillips on the move. But the big thing is Bryce Young. They spent the first round pick for him. They took the bait. And he did look good at times last season.
Yeah, the tail end of the year for sure.
Yeah, it's just I feel like you're trying to convince me to believe something that like my eyes have told me better. Like I've seen it with my own eyes that Bryce Young is not a quarterback who you should give $40 million a year to.
Is he the newest version of Kyler Murray? An undersized, athletic quarterback who shows glimpses?
Yeah.
Right? Like, is that where we are in the NFL? Like, yes and no. But I think Bryce Young is definitely better than we thought he was, but is he a top half of the league at quarterback, right?
All right.
And he might be exactly in the middle. Like he might be 15, 16. Like especially if you look around the league, right? He's definitely going to be up there. We're doing
about it.
We're doing.
I know
right
this
now.
is a departure from what we've got. I'll go division by division. Okay. Is he better than Stafford? No. Is he better than Brock Purdy? No. Is he better than Sam Darnold? No.
No.
Let's see. Let's go over. Is he better than Baker Mayfield? No.
No.
Is he better than Caleb Williams? No. Jared Goff? No. Love? No. Chapter 7. Is he better than Hurts? No, that's 8. Is he better than your guy? No, that's 9. Is he better than Dart? I would say no. We're looking at 10. Is he better than Dak? No, that's 11. Herbert, no, that's 12. Mahomes, no, that's 13. Knicks, no, that's 14. Trevor, no, that's 15. Stroud, no, that's 16. Lamar, no, that's 17. Burrow, no, that's 18. Aaron Rodgers, no, that's 19. Josh Allen, no, that's 20. Drake May, no, that's 21.
Yeah.
And that's not including like Mendoza might come out and be better than him.
Right.
So, and that's also not including like some other guys that haven't landed, which we'll get to, but like Jacoby Brissett, like he's not better than him.
Is he better than Jameis?
Yes.
Break my heart.
Jameis Winston played on a team that was trying to lose and was still too bad to continue to play.
What about Tua?
That's where we're at. Is like Penix, Tua,
Kirk Cousins.
Right, Kirk Cousins is out there. The quarterback for the Saints, Tyler Shuck.
Flaw.
So that's kind of where we're looking at with Bryce Young, and I just, I think you better have a backup plan.
Is he better? Is he better than Spencer Rattler and Tyler Slaw?
He's better than Shuck, and he's better than I don't know. He may not be better than Tyler Shuck. He's better than Rattler. So I mean, that's we're at like 24 quarterbacks that are better than Bryce Young.
Yeah, and then you look at, I mean, let's move over to like what's still available, right? At quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, Tyrod Taylor, Jimmy G. Like one of
Yeah,
them
he's
could
better.
easily back up in Carolina. Like,
Right, which they got Pickett. Pickett might be more like a third string quarterback even than a
yeah.
believable backup. If you're
Like, do
trying to
you want a
contend,
vet? Do you want a vet in there like a Tyrod?
right? Yeah, like I don't
Like,
think he's
I
better
don't
than
think.
Tyrod Taylor.
I mean,
He's not
Jimmy
better
G
than
would be a
Rodgers.
solid backup too.
Yeah, Jimmy G's kind of third stringer.
Yeah, you just Rodgers, Cousins, and Wilson will probably have. Well, Rodgers is going to get starting quarterback money wherever he goes. Cousins and Wilson are going to make more than a backup.
Right. And Cousins is going to have, he'll get another deal probably for another year or two, but he's going to have a bunch of money coming his way from Atlanta. So he'll
Right.
probably sign, maybe a team friendly deal, but he don't play about his money. So he'll probably get a multi-year deal with, the next year being guaranteed as well.
Right. Looking at running back, Najee Harris, Brian Robinson, Joe Mixon, Jeremy McNichols, he just went off. I think so. Kareem Hunt,
Yes.
Raheem the Dream, Mostert, and Nick Chubb.
So yeah, nothing
Is
really.
there anyone really stands out for you as like a possible desirable running back?
Not at this point. Yeah, Joe
Yeah.
Mixon had the weird injury thing. Kareem Hunt was the best pile of dirt in the league last season.
Right.
Yeah, everybody else, they might get some depth play, but nobody there is going to be a game changer.
Looking at wide receiver, I mean, you got Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, Debo, Jawan Jennings, Brandon Ayuk, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins, Brandon Cooks, Tim Patrick. Like, wide receiver is the most interesting part right now. But like, do you want Diggs's problems? Do you want to deal with Tyreek? What Debo are you going to get? Like, I was very pleased with what we got with Debo and the Commanders. I'd love if we could bring him back, but I don't think he's going to come back.
Yeah.
Jawan Jennings is a guy who did way better than he should have done in San Francisco, and he's just ready to go be somewhere else. Brandon Ayuk is a guy, we talked about him earlier. D Hop would be real nice to go and be a veteran force on a team that could really use a wide receiver. In that right, Kansas City?
I mean, he was on a team that needed a veteran force, and I was told that Kansas City was so foolish for letting him out the door when he was with the Ravens last season. And what did he do? Under 2 catches a game. Give me a break.
Yeah. Tight end is very interesting. Headlining the class is David Njoku. Finally getting away from Cleveland. I'd love to see David Njoku land somewhere meaningful. That'd be real nice. Just for me personally, liking David Njoku.
Yeah, I would too. And like, I know he's, I think 30. So like, oh, that's older for a player in free agency, but we're seeing the tight ends start playing a little bit longer. Outside of Kelsey, who's just a freak. Go look up the stats that Travis Kelce has put up during Rob Gronkowski's retirement. And it's like the full career of other guys who you're like, oh, he's really good. So like eliminating Travis Kelce, like Mark Andrews, Baltimore was talking about him being off the team 2 years ago,
right?
And they've signed him to an extension.
And double down by getting rid of his backup.
Yes, yeah, both backups. Because they let Charlie Kohler go over to the Chargers. So they're all in on Mark Andrews, but yeah, I think Njoku is a really interesting ad for somebody. Yeah, I think somebody's gonna be really lucky to have him.
Yeah. On the offensive line, I mean, there's definitely some names that are out there that can be difference makers, like a Joel Bitonio, Greg Van Rotten, Mekhi Becton, depending, mileage may vary on Mekhi Becton. I know Washington could take a look at what's there at center, but I don't know if they love anything that's there. On the edge, you've got a lot of the old guard who's looking to get one more. You've got the hitmen for hire that still are around that are just really good at rushing the passer no matter how old they are. You're talking about your Bosa's, Jadeveon Clowney, Dante Fowler Jr., Von Miller's out there. Old man Kyle Van Noy is out there, so I expect him to go to the New York Football Giants to go be with with Harbaugh. D tackle, DJ Reader, Calais Campbell's out there, Christian Wilkins, right or wrong for him. Linebacker, Bobby Wagner, Bobby Okereke, Shaq Thompson, Levante David's out there. So some veteran presences that could make a difference and be a leader of men on the defensive side of the ball. For corners, Rasul Douglas, Trayvon Diggs, Shaquille Griffin. Good luck to whoever wants the problematic Marshawn Lattimore. Boy, did I get a bill of goods for Marshawn Lattimore. It felt very much
price.
It gave me Adam Archuleta vibes. It gave me Albert Hainsworth vibes, not to the same degree, but just like high hopes that meant nothing. And then at safety, 3 real big names that are out there, like Jabril Peppers, Harrison Smith,
and Harrison Smith's probably retired.
Yeah, he's still available. He's still listed as a free agent. If he does go anywhere, he re-signs with the Vikings more than likely. Yeah. But Kyle Duggar and Jordan Poyer, those two, definitely depth pieces in a secondary that would work quite nicely. So definitely a lot of discussion for the offseason and where things go. The draft is going to be very, very interesting. So we're looking forward to that. And we hope that you looked forward to this as well. 2+ hours of fake sports talk for you guys here on the Patreon, but also now officially spun out, unchanged, out into the wild and out into the ether on its own. So catch that wherever you get your podcasts. But you'll always have it also on our Patreon. If you so choose to subscribe to the Patreon, check that out, patreon.com/Final Wrestling Place, where you can see this show more often, as well as our walk through the TNA Impact era, starting from the very beginning with a series we call Deep Impact, and our regular weekly wrestling podcast, Final Wrestling Place, where you can see us for as little as $3 a month in the flesh, talking all that stuff, all that jazz. But Marcus, it was really good to talk sports ball. And I know you hate saying sports ball, but it was really good talking ball. And we will definitely be back more often. And hopefully with some other familiar faces to get their chops wet, especially now that Fake Sports is officially from behind the paywall and back into the regular zeitgeist. So, Marcus, take us away.
Tim, go long.
Oh.